Hello and welcome back to the channel where we are building a video game from scratch using Love2d and Lua. So we added our sound effects from Kane yesterday. We finished adding those. And then we started building out a save data utility helper print to console so that we can track what happens when you save the game, because if we save the game here, it's saying, hey, we know we had a game saved successfully. When we go to load it, it'll actually print up what was actually saved. So we're looking for, you know, we're looking for an accurate reproduction of having items, which is a health potion in grid 1-2 and a loot in grid 1-1 and a 10 on the health potion quantity. So it's looking like we saved it right. It's just that we have now noticed and confirmed that in the state machine, whenever you change the state machine, it re-inits everything in the state machine. So we can't just say, when we switch to PlayState, we can't just say load the player data after the PlayState, because the PlayState will then re-init and overwrite anything that we may leave right after the load. So it's like a little complex, but this is why I had so many problems with it earlier and why it's taken me like 2 weeks to hopefully get to the bottom of it. So at least we've got some stuff printed to prove that we at least saved the thing correctly. You know, we didn't actually save if our green tunic was equipped or unlocked, as well as the Flamma spellcast element. We don't have a flag to say, hey, we've unlocked this, so this is now in our inventory for the save as well as the load. So we're just trying to figure out how to successfully load from the table that we've got. So I think what we need to do is add the load into the PlayState init at the very end, because then whatever we initialize our inventory system as or anything like that, we would then just load and overwrite those initialized values to be what the load data was. So that is the goal. Let's take a look at our PlayState init and just see if we do things. See, look how we have this where we're saying put the loot in grid 1-1, put the potion in health in 1-2, then initialize the player, blah blah blah, do all the init. We don't need this test counter anymore. Okay, so we have an init, and it's not very long. There's not a lot of stuff. So basically what was happening was, if we were to load, then it would go change to the PlayState after the load, and then this stuff would get reinitialized, and then it would overwrite our save. So this is the stuff we're trying to overwrite with the actual load function now. So let me just make sure we have this save data utility. I'm forgetting where it was. It looks like it's a self-save utility. Okay. So the save utility... Okay. The save utility is one of the things we initialize. Now, this is just the object of save data. Nothing really happens until we actually run the method save player data or load player data. So this, I'm not worried about. This isn't overwriting anything, but we would need to then load our player data in the PlayState. But this is bad. We don't want to just dump this in the init, because if we go into the refinery, we'll go to the refinery state, then we come back out, it'll change back to the PlayState, which would re-init, which would reload all of your inventory stuff to be the last time you saved, not what you currently have in the game. So how do we do this? Because we want to load the data after all of this PlayState is initialized, but ideally before we even render it. So we could just have a Boolean load from start or something, and if there is a save data that exists, because ideally the game pretty much functions fine right now, in the sense that if we're walking around, we can save the data and that works. But what isn't working is the one time we load it from starting the game. It's just not working. So maybe we can say when we boot up in our main or whatever, we check to see if there is a save file that exists. If there is a save file, then we need to say, okay, well, we can have some what do we do, man? We have like an event dispatch for once we get to the end of the PlayState. See, dude, oh my god, it's so tough. Because we only want to do it once. So like anytime we put it in the update function, it's just going to create problems. So ideally, you know, if we have a Boolean called save game loaded, and yo, hey, sounds good, Puny. Thanks for hanging. Yeah, let's walk it through from the beginning, where we check if the save data exists, right? So, it might be in the save data utility. Dude, I don't know. This stuff is so tough. You know, we have this if save data exists right here, right? Because we're saying do a get info on the save player data bin, and if it is nil, that means it doesn't exist. So if it is not nil, it means it does exist. So if the save data does exist at the save player data bin, then we want to basically say, okay, well, we're going to have this save game loaded that gets false. I guess we can initialize this I don't know. I'm kind of thinking I want it to be like a global save data loaded. Something like this. So let's say save data loaded gets initialized as nil. Then, if there is a save data, but if there is a save data, then we're just going to say, okay, well, the save data is not loaded. It is false. Then what we're going to do is in the PlayState, we're going to get to the end of our update in our PlayState. So not in the render, but in the update. So holy crap. What is this? Oh my god, dude. Dude, this is still the render? This is nuts. Okay. So here, at the end of our play state, you know, ideally we just do like a sort of event dispatch, but we have to time it till after we initialize the play state, which is what makes it tough. But I guess we could do the event dispatch in the play state if only on that load. Because we're rarely ever loading the data unless you die, right? Like we load the data when you start a game or when you die and it needs to load from the last checkpoint. So I kind of want to do an event dispatch here, but in the init, because I don't really want to bog down the update with this. But in the init, we can say, okay, well, in the init of our play state, our init is very small. And we're going to say, well, if there is, if our save data loaded, or if we could say, save data needs loading. Just to make it read a little easier, right? So if there is a save data by the time we run this load player data, if there is if there is save data, then we're going to say, okay, well, the save data needs loading. Because the issue here is normally we just go ahead and then load the data and it overwrites everything. But the issue is we need to trigger this method after we've initialized the play state, which right now is not what we're doing. So we could run this method in the init Dude, I don't know what the way to do this is. Because we only want to load it. We only want to... We want to load the player data when we start the game, when we die. But we don't want to reload anytime we initialize a play state or reinitialize a play state, because then it would just screw up our progress. I feel like I'm thinking too hard about this, because we just need a way, we just need to be able to say, I don't know, man. Because, yeah, if we were able to just call this loadPlayerData in the PlayState, right, it would half fix our problems. It would, and then it would half break our problems or make more problems. So the way, I guess, let's just walk it through and try to put the actual load in the PlayState init, and then we will go about it and make sure it's not just if the game was... I don't know, dude. It's not very good. Because we do this, like, where do we actually call this loadPlayerData? We do it multiple places, right? So we do it in a title screen state. It is after the PlayState in this scenario. We do it here in the PlayState if you die and you're on a game over screen. We do it here just by pressing L for testing purposes. We do it in the falling chasm state when you select continue. And in both of these scenarios, right, we have the load player, then we have the change to play state. We have the load player data, we have the change to play state. We have the load player data, we have the change to play state. So they are, in a sense, already kind of coupled. So I guess what we can do is do the save player data needs loading, but because if we dump the load player data in the init for the play state, it will screw up anytime we go to the refinery and come back out, because it'll get reinitialized because we changed the state. So we need a flag to be able to say we don't reinit this thing unless this global flag is toggled. Then we load it, then we reset the flag so that we can ensure it never accidentally gets triggered. So I guess what we can do in this state is for all of these scenarios where we are using the load player data and the change to play state, we move the method load player data into the play state init at the end, and we add a conditional, and we set the conditional here before we change to the play state, so that in the play state, when it gets to that line in the init, it knows to overwrite the data. Okay. This has been the hardest part of the game development cycle. I think I've been on this for 2 weeks now. Okay, I mean, let's just start. So we're looking at the load player data. Now the thing is, with the save data utility, it's just a class. It's just a save data utility. We get this thing. So Puny, we're just trying to save and load specific data for the game, and the issue comes with how the state machine works, and how, you know, like the order of operations for the code execution paired with the state machine. So it's like a lot of the stuff is initialized one way, and if we do it wrong in the state machine, it'll overwrite the save data we just loaded. So it's like we had it where we would just load it, and then whenever we would change the state machine, it would overwrite the loaded data, which isn't what we want, and it's just been a big headache. But basically we want to go, anytime we run this load player data, we're just going to comment it out for now. So this load player data is going to be moved into the init for the PlayState. So like one counterintuitive thing is like in this game engine, when we change to the PlayState, it doesn't hit this line and then immediately go into the PlayState and start updating those lines of code. It'll continue on. It'll say, okay, well now we're supposed to be in the PlayState, but we're just going to continue and execute all these lines subsequent, which would then we would be changed to a PlayState. Then we would load our player data, which would overwrite all the initialization for the item inventory, but then it would actually get to the PlayState on the next loop, at which point it would reinitialize the inventory system and overwrite our loaded data. So it's like, even though we had the load player data after the change PlayState, it's still messed up. So we have to just do this differently. So this one is also paired right after this PlayState. It is, I believe so. Because yeah, we have to update whatever the current state machine is. It's in the update for main, I guess. I guess we can take a look at that. Yeah. So we just do a state machine update in the main update, love update. Okay, so this looks like our last load player data. And this one isn't paired with the PlayState because this is just us pressing L. You can create an event on the state machine like on state changed. I do want to get better at the event dispatching stuff. We've only used it like twice in the whole game so far, so I believe you, and I think that's a good idea. I just have not spent the time to kind of dive deep into that. That way you'd have control over when the data is loaded. It's hard because the state machine does change in game and we don't want to load it certain times. It's just like when we start the game from scratch or when we die, then we would want to do it. You said event, you mean like a function? Yeah, I mean, That, I mean, yeah, I'm trying to wrap my head around how to do that as we speak, you know. So I'm not exactly sure. My current understanding is that if we put in the PlayState in the init, and we can say at the end of the init in the PlayState, we say, well, if this save data needs loading, then we want to load the save data, essentially. Now we have the save data utility right here, so we should be able to say self.save utility, we want to run load player data. So then we want to flop this boolean to be false, because it doesn't need loading anymore because we just loaded it. So I guess if whenever we go to where we took out the load player data, we just say, okay, well now save data needs loading. And I guess it's not as simple as that either, but we basically what we're trying to do is we're trying to make sure we decouple the I know this, yeah, the save data needs loading. Yeah, I guess I shouldn't have it all caps if it's not constant, right? But I don't know what to name it. Oh, when it's not loaded, it's okay. So if we go back to where we actually do the load player data, you just called the load function and you're saying it's not loaded. I said it needs loading, so then we load it, then it doesn't need loading anymore. Basically, if we changed, yeah, I had it that way and then I renamed it. It's the needs loading. It's stupid, but basically we're gonna change this to true at this point in time, and this is in the title screen state, and we're saying, well, if we start the game, essentially we're gonna change to the play state, which doesn't do anything at the moment, but it goes forward and says, okay, well now we're gonna change this global to be it needs loading. We're gonna stop the soundtrack. We're gonna load the proper soundtrack. We're gonna make us meditate. Then when we're in the play state, we get to the init, the end of the init that says, okay, well we need loading, so let's go ahead and load it. And that load happens, this load right here happens after we initialize the item inventory here. So it should overwrite this. It should overwrite that. And also, we just need to make sure that we don't accidentally, like, we couldn't just say load player data here in the init. We couldn't just do that, because if we go into the refinery and come out into the play state again, the refinery is its own state because it's got special shop logic. So we need to make sure that we can trigger the load data when we want to with this boolean and a change to the play state. So I think this save data needs loading, as weird as it is, might help us. It's just that we need to let's say the next time we try to load player data, this was in the title screen state, but here in the play state, if we are dead, we are gonna basically do this save data needs loading, so that by the time we get to the end of the init, it would go and overwrite the load. And let's see, I think it's one more player data. So we've got the save data needs loading, save data needs loading, right here in the falling chasm state, we also need to take out, we don't do the load player data, but we say the save data needs loading. Change to the PlayState. Okay. This might be it. Let's try to equip the health potion, not spend any, save it, exit, load, and we'll see if anything breaks. Because ideally, our health potion would be equipped. So let's see. There's nothing equipped right now, but if we go equip our health potion and save our game, it says grid 1-2 was empty when we saved it. It says game saved successfully. Health potions equipped in B slot. So let's quit the game and we will try to load the game again and see if we have our health potion equipped in our item slot. It is not. Okay, we took off basically all of the actual load function. So if we go to load player data, we just have to turn that back on, I think. Because if our load player data, look at this, we have everything turned off. So yeah, we're gonna test it right here. I'm gonna just turn this on so it actually loads and overwrites. And we're gonna test it here too. Okay, and we have this thing, we have a print debug that says it loaded whatever index as whatever value that was saved. And we're just basically hard coding in an overwrite to our, not hard coding, but we're overwriting our inventory with the data that was deserialized from our load. So let's try that. Let's see. Now that we saved it, we did save it with health potion equipped. So now on this load, it might do it. Oh, dude, we've got the health potion equipped. That's the first time we've been able to save and load an item slot. So let's see if our inventory is correct. We've got duplicates. Okay, I think that makes sense though, because we're actually inserting the health potion into this slot. Regardless, just because in the game when we were testing it, we need to give us a potion to test instead of just obtaining the potion through natural means in the game. So we can turn this initialization off and it should be correct. Because, we won't be adding it when we don't need to be adding it, because that's up here. We're saying add this health potion in at 1-2, which when we load, it would load in something. I guess the load should overwrite that though, huh? If by the time we save it, there was nothing in there, then by the time we load it, it doesn't even overwrite it, because it was like there was nothing in there to save anyway. So it doesn't overwrite it. So maybe we should add, regardless of if there's something in it, we pull it and then we just clean the table. I don't know. But this is also just a byproduct of us putting it in for testing. So I believe now it should not be in there. Nice. Okay. So I want to try to heal. Now we have 9 health potions, so let's save it with 9. And we'll quit the game. And we'll try to load it and see if the quantity comes over as 9. So let's try that. We're going to load it. We've got 9. Nice, man. This is close. I mean, this is really good. Yeah, this is really good. This is like a load off, dude. I've been worried about this for so long. Okay. There's a bunch of issues, right? Like, because it's hard to develop the game, but then also test things that are more contained to the player experience rather than the developing experience. Like, I would like if just health potions are equipped from the get-go, so I put them on and equip them so that I can test these things. But I don't know if our load utility is lacking because it doesn't overwrite illegal operations, sort of deal. The good news is we're saving and loading item slots. So if we were to equip, oh my god, what just happened there, dude? What? What? Okay, so look, we're selecting the loot. We equip the loot, but the potion doesn't go inside where the loot was. Until we press space again on it. Okay, I don't know. But let's try to save with the loot here. Because now we have a health potion of 9 in the grid 1-1 slot. And we're going to try to save it with a potion in the 1-1 slot with 9 and a loot equipped. So let's save it. And we'll try it again. This stuff is so hard to test. It is so tedious to test. Okay, we've got our loot equipped, which is good. We've got a loot of 9 in here. If we go to equip it, though... What the hell, dude? Oh, lordy. Dude. This is some kind of something. Yeah. So it's not copying the type of 1-1 over. It's copying the... You know, it's copying the quantity because it thinks there's 9. So it knew that there was 9 something in grid 1-1 in the inventory when we saved it, but when we go to load it, it doesn't know that it's a health potion and not a loot. It's just a type field that is missing. So let's just double check our save player data. And it should be a little method here called save player data. Now we have this where we say, yeah, we're copying. See, because this grid 1-1-1 dot type should have been the health potion that was assigned when we saved it. So then it gets pulled into the save data grid 1-1 type and inventory grid 1-1 quantity. Oh, you know what? It's probably because we do the same thing with our loot. We go and input the loot in as the item 1 there. So if we turn that off and just try to load it, let's see what happens. Okay, it does have the 9 potion there, and we can equip it. And can we use it? Yeah, we can. Okay, so it's just a product of me overriding it with a loot. Okay. Okay, that is reassuring. Let's try it again. You know, we have 8 potion here. Let's try to get... I'm gonna equip the loot and have 8 potion in the second grid, and we're gonna save it there and see if that works. So we're gonna meditate and save our game. We're gonna quit, and then we're gonna try it again, and we're gonna see the heck, dude. What the? Okay, we're looking for 8 potion in the second grid here. So we've got our loot equipped, which is right. We've got 8 potion over there. Dude, this is awesome. We've got to save some other stuff. You know, we have to save, ultimately we have to save like what progression of a dialogue are you on for certain NPCs. If you've unlocked this shortcut, we need to save that. But we've got our items saving and loading, which is really nice. This is really nice. Okay, I think the next thing we need to worry about is the these slots, because depending on if we have these active, this will make them not only selectable but renderable. So that needs to be part of the save too, as well as the tome equip. So yeah, more stuff we've got to add, but this is big progress. So I'm really happy we got this done. I think tomorrow we'll dive deeper and try to do the tome, all the key items, saving and make sure that's working. And then after that, we need to do other things like the corrupted water cleansing. Like if you beat the demo and save it, it should save the blue water instead of the purple water. So we need to test that. We need to save the shortcut open for the first tome to the desert shortcut. We need to be able to save that. And then at that point, I think that's just about it, because we're already saving our health, we're saving our coins, we're saving our minerals. That's all easy enough. So we just need a couple of little things, and then we should be able to move on from the save data. Ideally we make our little save data report a little bit more clear too, where anytime we save it, it just prints a list of everything that was saved, and every time we load, it prints a thing of everything we load, which we've got for loading, but we need other things, you know, because like if we look at what was loaded, we loaded a health potion unlocked, which it's good we tracked that. But it's just because it's unlocked, that doesn't really help anything. Key items will need that, but health potion doesn't, because if it's in your inventory, it'll be saved. So we don't really need that. We have the item slot, that works. The current map, the inventory and the quantity, that works. The health, the current map row and column, the coins, the coordinates, the direction, the ruby count. Okay, so yeah, we need to add fire spell. We need to add all the spells unlocked booleans to determine whether or not we need to load them in the inventory system, renderable, which for the demo is just Flamma, so we just pare it down to Flamma. Same with the tunic, just pare it down to the green tunic for now. And then make sure once we grab the tunic out of the chest, we flip this global boolean that will then save the right value, then we'll load the right value for an equipable green tunic, and then the tome as well. Oh, it's a lot. And then little stuff like water is cleansed for the demo, water cleansed status, shortcut status. And then we also need the level of spellcast, because if people save up enough rubies to buy a level 2 upgrade for their Flamma spell, we need to save that progress as well. So that's another thing we need to add to the save utility. I'm not too worried about that one though, because now that we have this method working after the initialization, it should give us a lot less headaches. It's just one of those things it's hard to test because there's just so many factors to try to get in set. Yeah, and that's kind of my reasoning too, Puny, is like this kind of stuff is like really kind of frying my brain a bit. And I don't think I can just sit here for another 2 hours and just try to do it. Why is this? So I think we'll call it for the night. And tomorrow we'll just go for all the key items. And then after the key items, we go for all the global overworld map stuff. And then... dude, it's so bad. It's so bad. And maybe there's a better way to do it. Like, I'm using Bitzer, and it can't save any classes. It can only save literally just tables. So anything that's a class, it just can't save. So we have to like dig down and get all the shit I specifically need and only save the pieces of it, and then reinitialize only the pieces of it. It's just such a slog, dude. But it's cool because at least it's not in like plain text, right? We're not saving it in a JSON. Yeah. Yeah, we're not saving it in a JSON where people can go tweak the JSON and then cheat. They could, if they were savvy enough, import the Bitzer library into a Lua function, import the binary data, deserialize it, adjust the values, reserialize it, and then overwrite the save file. So they technically could cheat that way, but it makes it one less step harder than modifying a JSON, right? For them to just give themselves Flamma level 3 right off the bat. So exactly, that is a pro of the JSON method for sure. Yeah, that is very much true. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. It's my first game. I don't know. Are you using some utility to save it as JSON, or do you just mean like key value pairs? Well, and that's the thing too, Puny. I'm not so worried about people cheating. Like, I don't really care. Like, I post all the source code. Like, you just go modify the source code. Like, I don't care. But I really just don't want people to break the game by modifying the save and then losing their progress and being like, oh crap, now the game's unplayable because I tweaked one thing. And then they, I don't know. I think it's just better to kind of leave it in the background. But dude, the source code's free, so it's like they can always go in there and just change it. But I'm not worried about that. It's more so from like a user experience. I don't know. I don't know. I should probably think about that more. But I'm with you. I don't care. I want people to hack and tweak the game. And that's why I post all the source code. It's just that for your average person, if they see a folder called save files and it's JSON, they would go like tweak it and then break it and then, so I don't know. No reason to worry about serializing it into binary or what? Yeah, because I really don't know. I think I just liked the idea of trying to figure it out like this because it's a little more professional, I guess. Like, most games don't save all their save data in a editable thing that can be modified. Especially because my game is so janky. I feel like if you tweak something that it shouldn't be, there's a high chance it's gonna just crash the game. Because my game is just duct tape, dude. SQLite. Into just like a database and just into a SQLite database. I don't think. I mean, that's ultimately the bitzer is just saving it into a table of key value pairs, just like JSON or SQL, but it just makes a binary file instead of a JSON or whatever. Because at the end of the day, I guess because I don't think we could save any. I still don't think this would solve our problem for any advanced class objects, because JSON is just a key value pair, and the class objects are more complicated than that in Lua. So I don't think that really helps us on that front. I don't know. I'll do some thinking about it because I don't know. It's just a preference thing, right? So I guess if it comes down to it, we can always go back and adjust it into something different. But I think for right now, this is making sense, and it's also like Lua gives you permissions to modify, like this saves file, this saves directory is in the app data Love2d default save location. Whereas I think if we wanted to go to the JSON route, we probably wouldn't dump it in this hidden folder for Lua. But also, I wanted to save it to the default location because on iOS or Android, I wanted it to play nice with Lua or with Love2d defaults. So I think I just decided upon that. So it is nice though. I mean, the hard part that I was really worried about, we got figured out today. So I'm happy. You just save it to app data. Oh, you do? Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, we can. I think that's how my Joust game was. I think we just saved it to a text file or something. Because I don't think we did not. I don't think we did serialization for my Joust high score stuff. Let's commit here and say that we did we add loadPlayerData to end of the PlayState init, which solved almost all of our problems. And we also just had to turn off the ones we manually put in there so as to not override our load. Okay. All right, well, I think I'm going to call it for tonight. Tomorrow we'll work on key items saving and loading, as well as the map overworld save and load, and then once that's done, we're on the last steps to the end of the demo, which is we need 2 more NPCs, possibly 3. We need a fisherman boat, and we got 2 games running. We need a fisherman boat, and we also need an NPC in the refinery to talk to. He'll kind of give you pointers on what to do in the game if you're lost, and then we'll also need some new overworld sprites. But it is all coming together. We need a couple more sound effects to flesh it out. We need a crate break. We need a meditate gong. We need, oh god. We need, I guess those are the big ones. Maybe a new scene transition sound. And then we're going to be in business for the demo. So it should be, if everything goes smooth, right? It depends, like, the NPCs are just entities, so it's just however long it takes us to do the pixel art for that. We do need one more soundtrack for the refinery, so I'll have to make that on my synth, and then one soundtrack, 2 NPCs, a fishing boat for over here, and then I think we'll just lock a lot of the. I think we'll have only one explorable building over here on Main Street over here. When you go over here, I think we'll lock one of these, and this one will become the inn that they won't let you be at because they don't like magicians right now. So, and then all of this, this is just placeholder art for this main village area. So that's the last step before the demo's ready, is to flesh out the finalized art instead of just the placeholder stuff. But thanks, Puny. Yeah, it's been good. It's been a lot of good progress. It's just, the games just always take 10 times longer than you think it's gonna take. 2018, dude. No. It's tough. It's tough. I initially started this wanting it to be a 1-year project, and then I was like, okay, well, if it's 2 years, it's fine. And then now I'm like, dude, we're at 1.5 years, and the demo's not even done. So yeah, just one of those things. But thanks for hanging, Puny. I'll run credits here, and we'll call it. We'll find someone to raid here. Brightside's on. Is he doing game dev stuff? Yo, have a nice night, Puny. Thanks for hanging. Alright, we'll just raid Brightside. He's on. Friend of the channel. So, we'll call it a night. Thanks for hanging, y'all. I'll be back tomorrow. We'll get our key item inventory saving and loading. And then we're like 4 steps away from finishing the demo. So it's coming up.